Episode 3, here with Mike Parelli. Got to get that intro music going.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Nat.
Happy birthday,
Boy
Nat.
Wonder.
Happy vacation. Celebrate her birthday.
Drizzy.
We are here, episode 3, with a special guest. The reason why we are all here in the first place.
That's it. That's it.
Mike Parelli.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Let's go.
Give me far too much credit.
No, it's a crazy story, and I think we touched on this earlier in our, I think in our first podcast we had touched on it.
Yeah.
Just kind of our journey. So we obviously just to kind of rebrief. We're up in Norwalk.
Yep.
Had the spot up in Norwalk. We then just kind of hopped on a search. I want to say Redfin, and
Yep.
Mike always does a great job with his marketing. So we had reached out to Mike. Mike got back to us and set us up here. So yeah, special guest today. Super happy to have Mike up here and hear kind of your perspective on everything.
No, I remember when you reached out, and I'm like, is this the guy who I used to watch? Because my dad loves high school football. So we always go to Greenwich High. We watch the games.
Right.
And then your name popped up. I'm like, where do I know that name? Longy. And then I remember going to your games. So I was like, oh, small world.
Small,
Yeah.
crazy.
And then obviously when you reached out and you're interested in the space, I'm like, well, it's a local guy.
Right.
I like to keep things local. So then it all kind of came to fruition. So happy for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it.
How's everything going?
I mean, listen.
You need a new partner? Is that what that was? He gave you the hesitation right there. He was like, ah.
Listen, no, I mean, listen, things are great. I think, we talked about it like last episode, I think. Like we're here, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we're ingrained in this thing now, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Greenwich, we here. Huh?
Right here.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking to hopefully, to only just grow this thing and expand it.
Yeah.
Like we said, like, you were a big part of it. And I know in the beginning, we might as well put it out there. It was, I could be difficult at times,
Oh, Rod got fired up a couple
you know what I
times.
mean? So, I mean, when you've been doing this thing, as long as I have, it's just, certain things you just.
So, and just so you know, I've been in the industry, it's been 10 years and then 1 year on my own. And I've been through that where everyone's stressed out, everyone's got things going on. And that's why you have me is to like comment, hey, listen, I get it. Just get me whatever we need and we'll get it done.
That was
know?
great because I was fired up.
Yeah.
And Mike was like, no.
I was like, Rod, I get you, Rod. I get you. Just get me whatever we need.
Yeah,
And I won't bother you. No, you guys were great. I mean, from the beginning, you were great. I've enjoyed watching the energy, the videos, because I remember in the beginning, it was like anything, you were getting established. And now that you're established, it seems like anyone who comes here loves it. And it's,
Yeah.
I got to get back in shape before I show my face in this gym. It'd be disrespectful to show up in this current shape.
What do you call your gym at home?
Jim Miguel.
Jim Miguel.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
And you got Bar Miguel.
Well, so I started, all right, similar to you. I was like, all right, I can't justify starting a project outside and spending all this money on an exterior bar at my house versus renovating our kitchen, which needs it, right?
Right.
2 little girls, a wife. Kitchen would be used more than a bar,
Right,
you would think, right? So I was like, all right, well, if I can't justify spending the money, I'll do it myself. So I started to build this pizza oven, which is like commercial grade. And I started shoveling out a retaining section for seating. And my thought was like, I can get a workout in and I'll build what I want. And then it'll become like a place to do content for the food brand, the real estate stuff. And then I got to a certain point, my wife was like, listen, you need to wrap this thing up, hire whoever you need, but it needs to be ready for Livy's 4th birthday.
Right.
So then recently I just hired someone to take it on. So,
Really? Okay.
but strategically, she would never let me do that.
Right.
Hopefully she doesn't listen to this podcast.
Uh-oh.
Wouldn't let me do that
Right.
Unless I started,
Yourself.
I made it look terrible.
Right.
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 So, yeah.
Backyard all dug up.
Yeah.
So that works.
So I have Jim Miguel and I have Bar Miguel because as you know, with kids, you can't get out of the house much. So either I'm working or I'm with the kids.
Right.
So to have the gym in the basement, I used to wake up at 4:35, work out in the mornings. My kids don't sleep. So now it's like, all right, I'll get them to drop off. We were talking about drop off.
Yep.
And then I get home and I can focus for half an hour, try to work out. So
I mean, you got to get it in where you fit it.
yes.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it is. Speaking of kids, you can have some kids.
Me?
Oh, Jesus. I thought that was going to be an announcement. I was like, here we go. What an
You got kids?
episode.
I know my mom definitely wants me to have kids. She's itching for me to have kids, but gotta find the right lady first.
That
Ooh,
is
good
true.
answer.
Yeah.
That was a great answer.
Gotta find the
I
right
mean, it's true. This is true. I
Do
mean,
you have any idea of how many you want? Because I feel like I never thought about that.
No, I do 2 or 3, 3 max. I couldn't have more than 3 kids. I just physically couldn't have more than 3 kids, and it's crazy because as much as
I mean,
Well,
you
no, not
could. I
physically,
mean,
but like I couldn't. I don't think I would be able to.
Oh, okay, I was about to say,
Yeah.
wait, hold up, you having kids now?
No, I'm
Yeah.
just saying it. Like 3 would be a lot for me
Right.
to handle. I think 2 or 3 would be solid because then you could really, when you have so many kids, like kind of what you guys were talking, like you only have so many moments, and if you have a ton, I feel like that stuff gets spread thin. So yeah, 2 or 3.
I go back and forth because I don't know how you guys are, but the more the merrier is like my thought on everything. Like if I'm hosting and someone's like, "Hey, do you mind?" I'm like, "Yeah, bring whoever you want," because I'm like, "Yeah, Austin, I like this." It's worried about the
That's a
money.
lot of,
Well,
the
you
more
can
the
be,
merrier.
listen, you can be strategic when you
Yeah.
host. You can cook yourself. You
Right.
can do things to be
Right.
smart. You don't have to,
Well, I'm saying just like more the merrier.
Oh, with
With
kids.
kids,
Kids.
that's what I'm thinking.
Kids are very expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah,
Because I'm
but-
thinking like college. Think about when I have kids.
Forget that, and I'm sure
That's
Mike will tell you.
hilarious.
Let's talk about just daycare.
Yeah, and they said
Forget
Right.
daycare.
daycare is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
But motivation wise, I don't know about you, but like
Yeah.
I didn't know how to work hard until I had kids
bro,
because you can't. So like my schedule used to be I'd wake up at 4:30, I work out. I would, at the end of the night, I'd work till like 6 or 7, shut it down, do whatever, go out to dinner with Dana, hang out. Once we had kids, I was like, all right, well, I can't get my morning workout in. So what I'm going to do is I will wake up with the kids, whether it's 5, 5:30, 6, whatever it is, drop off. I used to not work out, so I would do 9 to 5. Kids get home from daycare at 5, so 5 to 8:30 is bedtime, maybe 9, and then back in the office, I'd have a coffee, and I still do this now, and work from like 9 to 1 in the morning, and it's like every day,
Every day.
But if I never had kids, my foot wouldn't have been on the pedal because you have all this extra time,
absolutely.
right? Would you agree with that?
Same thing. I mean, everything is, there's a schedule for everything.
Yeah.
And at the same time, though, like you said, and for me, it's like, and I think I talked to Austin about this before too. It's like I'm not even doing a lot of stuff for me anymore.
Yeah.
It's I'm thinking about like Maya at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want her. You always want your kids to be better than what you were.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I don't want her to. There's things that I missed out growing up on.
Yeah.
My parents just didn't know certain things, but I want to make sure Maya knows about like everything where it comes to like financial literacy. We always talk about.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned to you before, I want her to be able to talk to me about everything,
Yeah.
anything. So it's just you're driven because you always want them to have everything.
Yeah. And you have no tolerance for wasting time anymore.
No, you just don't.
Like if you don't want to go somewhere, you're like, listen, I'm gonna spend time. Like I can't. I'm with my kids.
Right.
It's such a great excuse.
Right.
You know,
It's like,
it's great. Excuse. You can get out of anything.
that's what I use with my dog.
Well,
My dog gets me out.
the Otis. Yeah, that worked.
Hold up, we're gonna talk about Otis real quick. Since he brought that up, I wasn't even gonna say nothing, but I texted him the other day and I told him, I'm like, yo, you are the worst parent in the world. You're
Why?
a deadbeat dad. Ask him where Otis is right now. Go ahead.
Where's Otis?
Otis is with my family. Well, no, he's back with my family, but my family was on vacation last week, and my sister's friend was taking care of him.
Okay.
Yeah, just 'cause
He was doing a little break. He was getting a little,
Yeah.
bouncing around. Is Otis have more space because you're
Exactly.
living in a smaller
I'm
spot
in a
now?
small studio. It's not fair to him.
So you got to turn it. You got to
Yeah.
flip it. You got to say, listen, he needs more space
He
to
needs-
run. This and
He has this big grand
Sounds
window.
like a deadbeat.
that.
Speaking about that, so we were talking about the Drake. Everyone's coming at Drake, and he's called a deadbeat dad, but we know light skins aren't deadbeat dads. But no, Drake's been killing everybody in the game right now. I'm not gonna lie.
I enjoy following it. I like a little drama. I don't watch much reality TV,
Right.
but like if a diss track comes out, I'll listen to it. It'll get me fired up for a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I mean, I was a fan, and Eminem's gets no credit these days. People don't even talk about him in the
Right.
conversation
He's a
of.
big Eminem guy.
Are you an Eminem
yeah,
guy?
oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he has classics that they're
Right.
not even talking about.
And this is where I was gonna say, with this is what we've been missing though. We've
Oh,
been
yeah.
missing the beefs. Everyone's too lovey dovey, even in sports.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
Just take it to
I
sports.
like it. You're connected.
Right?
Yeah.
Even in sports, everyone has to like each other. Everyone is
They're laughing
hugging
big
each
game,
other.
right,
Yeah.
Before the game, my GOAT,
Yeah.
Michael Jordan he wasn't talking to no,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? We wasn't friends.
He's still not friendly.
Right? He's still not friendly.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
And
which is
so
great.
I think for as a society, and especially for like rap and in sports, we need this.
I would agree.
We need this.
And it's
Yeah.
healthy drama too. It's not like
Right.
real, like no one's gang banging. Like it's just this is good goat talk. Like I'm the goat. No, I'm the goat.
Right.
Back and forth. It's good.
I have to say, I would agree. I like watching UFC and boxing because there is that element of like I'm gonna knock you out,
Right.
and like there's that directness. Whereas sometimes when even the NBA, everyone skates around everything now. They don't want to say they're better than the guy. Like when Anthony Edwards was talking to Durant during I loved it.
That was
I was like,
great.
that's tremendous.
That was great.
He was going right at him.
Right at him.
He's better than you.
I'm
I
all
mean-
about respect, but if you're a young guy in the league, like for example, like an Iverson when he played Jordan, like
Right.
show him no respect.
Right.
Like that's how you get the respect is if you go at people. So I love it.
Right.
I think it's great.
Right. And this, I mean, so, we'll leave it at that. We need it. And like, listen, Drake right now he's up here. So you have to come out. And I told him the other day, I said to him the other day, they are trying to sell albums.
Well, that's your guy.
Yeah,
Is Drake? You're Drake, yeah.
And, like, listen, I respect Drake. But
Yeah.
again, Drake's not my goat either.
Yeah.
It's Hove, baby.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Hove and MJ all day, every day, and Kobe. Right?
I mean, it's hard to argue those. That's
Oh, he will.
That's
He'll
hard to argue it.
all night, but we can see it
But
for another hour.
so I find inspiration for the real estate stuff, the business stuff through other avenues. Like I love listening to that stuff and how he talks about like one verse, whoever.
Right.
I'm like, oh, it's like he's acknowledging that everyone's up against. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna go at everyone, individually.
Okay.
And I like that. I'm like, oh, any area you can get inspiration from, I like to mix it up because it gets boring. I listen to podcasts all day of the real estate.
Right.
It's very boring.
Right.
So you throw in like a diss track by Drake, all of a sudden there's a little
Right.
juice in there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or like
right.
that when you watch a podcast, it's informational. You could pick up some things here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah. You
And then
do
he's strategic. He's like, all right, well, I'm going to put this one out. And then
Exactly.
I love when the guys break them down, do the reaction videos.
Yes.
And DJ Academics was
Yes.
like,
Yes.
he's like, I heard from Drake. He said he's going at all of them. He's
Right.
waiting from, I love that like hype. And then he explains like, well, he put this other one out saying, calling the shot of like, you're taking too long. And
Right.
when it comes out, it better be good because, you don't want to let everyone down. And
That's where
get the
Kendrick got
AI
right now.
tracks.
Where's Kendrick got? We're waiting on him.
My only complaint about all this is that Kendrick hasn't been vocal. If he's like, listen, it's coming. Like, even if he said that,
Right.
everyone would be so fired
Souped
up.
Right. Yeah.
He's not even talking about, which it could be
He might
strategic. He might come out with like 4 tracks.
and just
I get it, but you got to be prepared because
He might be though. We don't know his, like, did you see the Ryan Garcia fight?
yes, did you?
I mean, he trolled everyone.
He trolled everybody.
Because I wasn't following it because of that. I was like, oh, he's trying to retire. He's trying to get into show business music.
Right.
This was-
And then he put it on him.
He's
but
Haney looked like he saw a ghost.
Right.
but did you see the backstory to this?
Oh
though?
yeah,
I thought that's where we were going.
he recorded all of it. Yeah, what do you mean?
So yeah,
He set it all
he
up.
set it all up.
Yeah, yeah.
And mind you, so the odds were so crazy.
Oh, he
against
bet on
him.
himself.
He bet on himself.
Yeah, $2 million.
$2 million on
you
himself.
could do that in boxing.
Yes.
'Cause you're
And-
not tied to a team.
Right.
And he said, I'll be overweight 3 pounds,
Take the over.
and I'll give you $500K per pound,
Per
and I'm
pound.
still gonna whip your ass.
I'm still gonna whoop your ass, and I'm gonna make 10 million.
Yeah, he made some crazy.
So he put 2 million on himself.
And
Yeah.
made
In
12 million.
plus
in
100
addition to the pay-per-views,
Pay-per-view.
they said he made $50 million that fight.
And he got a bigger split because he was the draw.
You need to get into boxing, Austin.
Boxing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Can you
crazy.
imagine beating someone up in one of the most televised events and you make $50 million?
Come on, man.
I might just take getting beat someone up publicly and show them tough.
Right.
Let alone you give me 50 after my ego would be out of control.
Out of
Right?
control.
Out of control.
Out of control.
Especially everyone who's talking to him. He's like, I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you, I'm going to walk them down.
Right.
So I like watching that stuff because I read a lot about like people's micro expressions, like body language. I like
Right.
that stuff. And when Haney was like, I'm going to meet you in the center of the ring at the press conference, he's like, meet at the center. I hope you meet at, like,
Right.
we should have known then
That yeah.
that he knew
He was about
something.
this, right.
He had he was, UFC and boxing, I like how it's the week buildup
Right.
and the stuff is actually helpful to watch to see who you think's gonna win because there is a lot of telltale signs in the buildup.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It's like
absolutely.
it's that confidence, that body, and I think
They might need to do that with basketball.
Right.
I know they do press conference and stuff, but they might have to have like the front 5 on each,
Right.
like for an interview or press
I think
conference.
the reason why in UFC and boxing it's way more of a telltale sign is that it's one-on-one. Where
Yeah, and it's
basketball,
primal.
right?
Well,
You know.
And basketball it's 5 people and then the bench. Like it's hard to pick up on those micros.
Yeah, yeah.
right, but you got to also understand with basketball, football, like all those team sports, at the end of the day, they're working for somebody. Like they
Right.
still
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
report too, so they
That's
still got to
true.
watch what they say.
Right.
What you need to do is let's get them owners in there. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Get them owners down because like when you're a boxer, those dudes, yeah, they have managers, they have promoters and stuff,
Right.
but they don't really care about them.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah,
report to
yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
They don't really care about them.
What the one-on-one pride of like two players going at each other for a series is like that's the best.
That's
Can't
the
beat it.
best.
When it used to be Heat Knicks every
Right.
year, like that was the best.
Right.
And then they didn't like each other every year. They'd meet.
But this is why now it's like everyone's lovey-dovey.
Everyone's
Everyone's meeting at the end of the game. Like, all right, I'm gonna come play
Yeah.
with you next year.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's
The
that
Cavs,
stuff is-
Warriors, there was that.
Oh, there was that. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because
That was probably the last time.
LeBron couldn't stand Steph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respected him, but
Yeah.
I mean, there was plenty of tapes where you see LeBron, talking about, yo, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
Delete that out, right? My bad. But I mean, that's what it was, and
Yeah.
like I'm saying, so with all this that's happening right now, I mean, we have R&B singers going at each other. We have Chris
Oh yeah, I
Brown,
saw that. I got to
Quavo.
watch that
It's
one.
like
I don't know much about that beef, so I was
Right.
like, I got to jump in there. Though.
This is crazy right now.
And that's what happens when two goats go at each other. Everyone underneath wants to kind of get, oh, let me take my shot because this is the time.
So let me ask you this, coaches: how do you instill that killer instinct in the? Are you born with that, or do you develop that?
You're born with,
Born.
you're
Born and you could amplify it.
You're born, yes.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
born with that.
And is it a competitiveness that comes out? You think, or is it like a edge? What is it? Is it like a chip on the shoulder?
It has nothing to do with confidence in my eyes because confidence sways based off how good you're doing.
Yeah.
Unless you're just like
Yeah.
that, you just almost irrationally think that you're just better than everyone.
Yeah.
You know, like those kids who are like, "Oh, I'm nice. No matter how bad they are."
Yeah.
Right.
Like I
Yeah.
think you
And there's like no proof.
no
Right.
proof,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You take that person out of the equation. I genuinely believe you're born with it, and then there's people that could bring it out of you. There's things that could bring it out of you. Like the reason why I feel me personally, because I feel like that's how I was.
Yeah.
Right.
Smallest dude on the field, no matter what sport I played, and like
Yeah.
there was nothing that could get me off my game really. Like even if I had a bad play, I would have a big reaction, and coaches would be like, "Oh, he's done."
Mhm.
But like that big reaction was like, it would just take me to the next level. If I feel like I screwed up, no, now it's like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna make up for it and do
Yeah.
more and more and more.
You like double down.
Exactly. So yeah, it's super it's super rare to see someone like turn that corner.
Yeah.
To be
Yeah, I think you're born with it, man.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something, you can try to instill it in, especially at certain ages. So we are talking about our kids again. I think you're born with it, but you can learn it at an early age.
Yeah.
Once you hit like, 12 years old, and we see it. We have kids in here all the time. They just have no confidence. They're not competitive at all. Everything is an excuse
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
why I'm not good at something.
Yeah.
And to me, that's something that,
Develops.
develops. Like, when you're not confident and everything is like an excuse, or you don't care, so
Mhm.
I'm not good at that.
right.
I don't care.
I don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I hate
don't
that.
care. I don't
I
care.
hate that.
See, my problem is I don't like being bad at things. So like I golf a little bit, but I'm too competitive. So I can't golf because I'm like I don't have the time to commit to beat you. So I'm not gonna try hard.
Mm.
And that's my like cover up.
Right.
It's like I won't try hard. I'll like have a cigar, have a couple of drinks just to give myself an out.
But that to me shows that you're a competitor though, because you just genuinely don't have the time.
Well, I
So
grew up
what-
with a brother who was older and he was great at everything. Or not, I don't want to juice him up too much.
Yeah, exactly. Let me not gas him
But
up.
he was the brother who was like athletic. He played basketball, like football, whatever, captain of the team, all that stuff. And then I was like not as athletic. I had to work hard, and I just followed whatever he did. And I was always like, oh, it's Frank's brother. It's Frank's brother. And I wasn't as good, so I would always get like so I had to be a little more competitive and
But that's
cheat a
where you
little
get
bit when
that-
I played him.
And so, see,
Right.
like that's to your point. I do think in your youth, I don't think it's like you come out the womb and you're just a competitor. It's
Right.
more what happens in your life as time goes on is what develops that killer instinct or that competitiveness or that dog.
So I think the competitiveness you have to keep around. So I miss competitiveness because like real estate's competitive, but not really, because it's like you're in your own island and
Right.
it's like you're putting deals together and you're not really competing against like agents. You're working with them,
Right.
you know? So there's no killer instinct or like,
And it's not like one on one. Like
yeah, it's different. So
Right,
it's,
right,
and then
right.
like playing basketball, I used to enjoy playing basketball, but again, I mean, washed up and trying to play like out of shape, and you'd get pissed, but you wouldn't be able to do anything about it, which is the worst place to be, right?
that is the worst
You
place to be.
put like a move you used to do and you fall to the ground. You're like, I gotta retire. So like I'm trying to find something, but you know what I'm saying? You have that competitive energy
Right.
that you want to put somewhere.
Right.
I just haven't found that next place to put it. I'm thinking the only place is golf because that's a place you can
We just-
compete with everyone, right?
And so I've been playing probably more consistently, probably like the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And me and Austin played a couple times last year. We
Just
went,
played
we
last
went
week.
out for the first
Oh
time.
yeah, I saw the post. Yeah.
Like this week, last week, and it's just like this dude is.
I get tight.
Oh yeah.
He had me worried for a second here on a
'Cause
couple
I-
holes because he starts.
It's a balance.
Shit's unacceptable.
You
Like
know how the rules are with golf. Like what do they call it? The
Etiquette.
etiquette.
Yeah, yeah.
Golf
I knew exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
This dude
I'm throwing
hit a
clubs.
shot. He's
Oh
throwing-
no.
he's throwing clubs.
Can't throw a club.
I'm like, I hope you don't have nothing that says the app on it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, he's throwing.
My brother did that. He came down. So my dad. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Excuse me. There's six Frank Pirellis, right? My uncle, which you know, and then 5 in our lineage, like my family.
Okay.
Yeah. And my brother's Frank Pirelli, and my dad plays at the Griff all the time.
Okay.
So Frank, my brother, came down to play with us. He lives in Boston, just outside, and he pulled one of those and threw a club into the green on the Griff.
See, I wasn't.
And I'm like, Frank, like your name's dad's name. So you're going to
Right.
get dad banned for life from his golf course because you're a jerk,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So long story. But anyway,
But that's where it's at, and I know how competitive he is.
yeah, yeah.
So
And you
I'm
probably
sitting
egg him
here-
on.
And so now,
Once he got to that point, you're like,
right.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like,
He actually gassed me up. There's that clip of me driving.
Oh,
So I drove and it went right into the water.
Well, it's more fun when you're competing and it's somewhat
Right.
competitive,
If
you
I
know?
do
Like,
anything, if I spend my time doing something, I'm trying to be the best at it. The best that I could personally
but
be.
golf is the most frustrating game
It is.
ever.
No,
So
no
it's like if you don't put in the time, it's all muscle memory. So it's like if you don't play enough, right?
It is. But see, well, my thing is for me, it's for me right now. It's like I'm compared. I don't like to lose,
Mhm.
but for me, it's fun because
Yeah.
right now it's like whoever I go with.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm like the worst.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm like the worst player.
Yeah. But
I'm
think
go-
how fun it would be if you could roll in and just beat everyone
Right,
and
but I'm-
just talk to them while you're doing it.
Oh, but
And talk.
Yeah.
but they're gonna tell you I'm gonna talk anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But
I'ma
if
look
you,
the part.
if you can talk
Right.
and back it up on
Oh,
a golf course, nothing better.
No.
I can't do it, but I think about it all the time. I'm like,
Right.
my game plan is to behind closed doors, get
Right.
very good,
Very good.
not play with anyone for a long time, and then roll in and just put a tiger run together. You know what I mean? Like
Mike
maybe
comes out.
10 years from now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Feel like, oh, he never plays, and then just roll right into it.
All right, so there we go. I'm hanging out with Mike.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna start golfing.
But I have a theory. I think you need to get a simulator. You got room?
You have room.
Hey.
I think you need to get a simulator, and you need to just take the strokes
Right.
like every day. I think it needs to become. a second nature. Oh yeah,
Hey.
it's a great button. I need one of those.
Take the
To take the stroke, swing every day. So, yeah,
That's hilarious.
there's so many things, and I'm sure you guys are this way, that I'm like, I want to do this thing,
Yeah.
but I just don't have the time
Right.
and energy, and I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
golf's one of them,
And-
unfortunately.
And that's what we talked about before. Like with me, it's like taking on a bigger role as far as coaching.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
I know what it takes to be successful
Yeah.
as a head coach. All right. So I know what my time constraints are. So I would never do it
Yeah.
because I know, what, the Marinellis
Mhm.
and, all the other coaches who are, what they do. I've seen
Yeah.
it firsthand.
But that skill and muscle is hard to develop because like one of my downfalls in the past was saying yes to everything.
Right.
And then you do everything mediocre and it's a bad reflection, it's a bad habit, right? So is there anything you guys have been like, we want to do this project or this thing you just haven't done yet?
Oh, absolutely.
That's like on the to do?
We actually
Absolutely.
and we went golfing with Mike, Jedlicka. What was it? I don't know when we went.
I forget which day last
Last week. And so yeah, we're gonna end up we're gonna do a golf outing next year, fundraiser.
Oh, there
so
you
yeah,
go.
And that's the biggest.
Look at that
thing.
So
transition.
you have a year to get right.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
You out there.
Exactly.
The problem is I always get asked, all my clients are like, oh, come to this
I can
course, and
imagine,
all the
right.
courses are nice. And I'm like, I'm not going to embarrass myself in front of a client. You know what I mean?
Are you that bad though?
I'm not good. I would say that.
Like,
No,
what
I'm
do you
not.
feel?
I'm not.
Like,
I don't
100?
have a score. That's how bad I am.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
like I'll have a decent hole every once in a while, and like I'm for as little as I play,
Right.
I'm not bad, but in the grand scheme, I'm terrible.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I
me
understand.
too. I mean,
Yeah.
but, you know,
It's fun though. I enjoy it. Like I'm the guy who roll in with like the box of cigars and be like, all right, what does everyone want? And then like, oh, we're at the turn. I'll get transfusions. Like you got to add
transfusions.
some value.
And
Is that what you're drinking?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell
And
yeah.
I think that's the thing with golf is like I have to do a better job if I'm not playing well
Yes.
to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing like being
Think
out
about
there.
it. You're out with your guys
Right.
for 4 hours.
Exactly.
Right.
We kill for that.
Right,
now.
kill for that.
Kill for
Right,
that.
kill.
Right.
It's so rare.
So rare.
Yeah.
This is why I'm having a good time. And
Right.
like,
Correct.
like the other day, like
See, he
like,
knows.
Like he just
Rod
said it.
knows.
He just said, yeah, that's my time. That's
Yep.
4 hours.
Yeah.
But he just said it. He just said it. He has to do a better job at enjoying stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even just golf.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
gotta
watch
get
him
out, like-
sometime. Like I don't. You went to what, Canada last year for vacay? And that was pretty
For like
much
3 days.
for like three. Like
What's wrong with Canada? The way you said that, you went to
I'm just-
Canada.
there's nothing wrong with it. But you going to Canada?
All your listeners in Canada are very upset. Right now.
Shout out to Canada, man.
Yeah.
Where'd you go in Canada?
We went to Montreal. For some reason, all
Oh,
my guy
Montreal's great.
friends- Montreal.
Montreal, you didn't like it?
Oh no, I lied. We went to Montreal the first time, me and my friends, and then we went to Toronto. I actually like Toronto a lot more than Montreal.
Oh, really? Well,
But,
it's a
like-
different scene.
I'm,
would
saying,
imagine.
I'm saying though, Mike.
Yeah.
Where would you want him to go? Well, talk to me. Where are you
Florida,
thinking?
something-
Oh,
Nah,
okay,
where'd
somewhere
you just
nice.
go?
Guatemala.
Let's go to
Right.
I couldn't point Guam on a map, but that sounds nice.
Yeah.
Sounds nice. Good food. I'm
I
assuming.
gotta get out. I gotta get
want to go to Canada.
What do you enjoy? What do you enjoy?
Work.
Yeah.
work. Work for sure. Outside of that,
Stocks.
no. Yeah, I'm highly addicted
Yeah.
to the stock market.
Highly
That is for
addicted.
sure. And then outside of that, like I really just genuinely enjoy just like I playing sports, like competing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I've played basketball with.
Oh yeah, you're in like 10 leagues or
Yeah.
whatever.
So,
yeah.
like-
So that works.
Like I'm
no?
just like a,
You don't think so? He's snoozing.
yeah, I just all I want to do is like I love competing. I love working.
Yeah.
I do love like relaxing is like a big thing with me. Like
All right, that's
just
nice.
to make up for the time that I'm just working on.
So is like golf your outlet?
Yeah, right now.
You enjoy that as a
Oh, I enjoy it. I
Yeah,
enjoy
yeah.
it. I
and
enjoy
it's you sound like you like to learn stuff. You like
Yeah.
and golf is like infinite how much you need to learn and improve on,
Right.
right? So it's like it's a something that you can sink your teeth in. There's no expiration or no a long expiration, right?
like we can
If
play
If we
golf.
start playing like pick a bat, it's like there's only so long you're gonna
There's
play
only-
basketball.
there's only so long.
The injury risk of injury now, like if you get hurt and you're trying to coach.
This is what I try to tell him too.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm at
But
the
he's
age
young.
where
He's not like,
he is,
you know.
but he is. But I'm telling you,
I like when you talk about he's right there. You're like, this is what I'm trying to tell this guy.
This is what I be trying to tell him. I tore ACL and Achilles as soon as I turned 30.
Yeah.
I try to tell him like, yeah, he's young, but he
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
But the other side of that is like I'm thinking about making a comeback to just play a little basketball, just because I can now.
They got the
Like
men's
I
league
don't know how
already.
long I'm gonna be able to play basketball, right?
I get that, but
I'm 33, so I'm not on the tail end, but I'm also like it only gets harder, so I got to get back in shape.
you can still sell houses.
Right. That's
If I get hurt, it's
gonna
be tough.
That's
Yeah,
one thing I think about.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
When I was hurt,
Mhm.
I was still working in Manhattan.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I had FMLA. I had my benefits. I was
Yeah, yeah.
still making money.
Yeah.
If I get hurt now,
Now-
I'm
yeah.
gonna go out there and play some basketball.
Entrepreneurship,
If
yeah.
If I get hurt now, this dude gonna be. Yo, Rob, I don't know what to do, but you got an hour to be here for the session.
I'm booking him up.
I can't even walk.
Yeah.
Well, we got an elevator. Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
yeah, yeah,
That's it. Because I'll be in here.
and
Yeah.
that's how I think. Now.
yeah,
That's how I think. He's not. He's invincible.
yeah.
He always, light skins built different. That's
Is
just
that
me.
is that a
Light
thing?
skins- yeah, light skins built different.
It's great.
Oh, okay.
You like so my brother used to say no one sweats, you got to sweat yourself else no one else will.
Okay.
And I was like looking back I'm like that's one of the best things I've ever heard because it's like you got to get hype yourself up.
100
You're a pro at that.
Listen, you do, but
So I want to touch on the frugalness if you will cuz this is a great topic. So I'll be honest. So when I started the real estate world I had a little money saved up. In hindsight, like no money saved up. I thought I was like, oh, I'm set, and I was like 10 grand. Like I was like, I could live on this for 4 years.
Right.
And so I was like, so I had the money, and then I started to cut all the expenses. I was like, I want no overhead, no gym, no cable. Like I cut everything, and then I got to a point where I'm like, man, this is low overhead, but I'm miserable. Like I can't go to the gym. I can't watch TV if I want to watch. Like, and then I started to layer things back in. And then now I'm in a phase of the business where now I'm paying for convenience. I'm buying my time back now because the kids. So I'm like, all right, well, if I'm sending all these mailers out, like I'll get a folding machine that stuffs inserts. It's expensive, but I'd rather pay this robot to do it than me sit here,
100%.
4 hours a night stuffing envelopes.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like a mindset shift where I don't mind paying for things if I get a return from it now,
Absolutely.
but there's phases where you're like, oh, I gotta survive. I'm cutting all expenses,
And I think that's where, we have a good balance because it's to the point where, and I always say, Austin do everything himself.
Yeah.
Like when this equipment was coming in,
Yeah.
he'd be like, "Oh, we gotta get this equipment up," and I'd be like, "Yeah, all right, we'll do it next week."
Yeah.
He in here, He-Man,
Yeah.
picking up the whole rack, putting everything together himself.
Yeah.
Like we talked earlier, he mastered this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
himself, he
Yeah.
will do everything himself
Mm-hmm.
to save $1.
So I think the advantage in that is that when you do hire people to do it, you know
can
what
actually instruct
you can't get BS'd as easy.
Right.
But it is a muscle that's hard to get out of because once you get in that routine, you're not paying for anything ever. It limits you because you're like, oh, I'm not gonna, and then your time gets trapped.
Well, this is my time, right?
No, I know. I'm saying for him, it's
Right,
like,
well,
yeah.
No, I'm talking even for him.
Yeah.
And this is where he's at now. That's why he's going to Canada and not Guatemala.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Because he has to.
I got it.
He has to be everywhere.
Oh, I got you.
Austin has to know everything, how everything's working.
Yeah.
What's being done instead of he. And it's, I don't know if it's frugalness. Well, it is frugalness, but at the same time, he just has to have his hands on
Kind of a control type thing.
I just got to understand because what's the best way to put it?
We're doing like a therapy session.
I know. I feel like it's a little,
You know,
but I like it.
See how I'm diverting it to you guys? I'm like, let's talk about your problems.
Right.
Yeah.
When I think about it, and this is like also going into like my business with my friends with my Fordham friends. I think that having an understanding of where everything is at is so reassuring to me because then you could understand where to value your time the most. Like this probably took me like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours to figure out. So like I'm cool spending 4 or 5 hours to figure this out. It also would take me away from trading, which is a good thing. You need to step away from the screen. But like, yeah, no, it's like so, and I think we're in a great spot now where like most of our time we spend training in the afternoon. So we have time during the day where like it's cool. Like learn this, figure it out, and now we're set up. We're good to go. Like we hop in here, we do our podcast, and we're good. But yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily a control thing. I think it's just more understanding where everything is at gives me peace of mind.
Yeah.
If I feel like I don't know what's going on over here, over there, that like not necessarily stressing me out.
So my view on all of it is it's a personal preference, right?
Absolutely.
Like depending on what you want to do with your time, if you enjoy things or not enjoy things, like there's no rules is what when I talk about, I'm like, there's no rules, do whatever you want.
Right.
For me, it's become more of like I know that's my downfall is that I will manually write every envelope because I think if I write the envelope, people are going to open up more.
Mm.
Right.
Which is,
but I had to get comfortable with like, all right, maybe 80%, right? Open it up.
Or if you're
if
pumping
it's
out
not
more
handwritten,
and you're hitting
exactly.
at a
It's a
lower
net
percentage.
positive
Exactly.
if I do these things, right?
Right,
So like one of the things that one of my team members is trying to work with me on is I show every property, which is insanity,
That's
right? It's crazy.
Right.
You're rolling
Rentals, like I do it all.
Right.
And I'm like, listen, maybe that's 100%, but if I didn't, maybe it's 90%, maybe I'm doing 90% of.
Right.
So it's like, is that Saturday when I drop things and I go show a property worth it in the long term with the kids? Because that's an hour out of the day just to show one property, right?
That you
It's
can't
tough.
get back.
It's tough. It's a tough,
balance, right?
but
And there's
so
no perfect answer to that.
so what I try to do is like I test, like, all right, I have this opportunity where this property is vacant. I'll go overboard in the prep on how to show the property to people. I'll put signs or whatever so they know everything I think.
Right.
The video tells you everything that I would have done at the showing anyway.
Right.
And then I just got to try it and see if it works. So that's like you test it out and then see if it works.
Right.
It's hard though when you're in control and things are working.
Right.
You're like, I want to take my hand off the wheel because what if this crashes? And then it's like,
And it's
Yeah.
also like, what's that term? It's like,
if it's not broke, don't fix it.
yeah, that, but it's also more like,
See, I couldn't
one
agree
could-
with that less. Like,
Right.
if it's not broke, don't fix it. Yeah, but if it's gonna prevent you from getting to the next level, you got to change it.
right.
Well, you have to change it. I think you have to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like adapt and grow.
Adapt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have to be able
yeah.
to adapt.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, look at, now I'm going to take it totally left here. Like, look at, like, Nick Saban, those guys. They're leaving
Right.
coaching college because they can't adapt to the whole portal thing. You have to be able to adapt.
Yeah.
You know, these coaches are
I
able
don't.
to
I
adapt.
think Saban more so left because of NIL stuff. He doesn't think
Well,
it's for.
well, still, that he's
I
got to
mean,
be able to adapt to it.
so
Though.
He
the
just doesn't
argument
agree with it.
and the argument there is like once you get to a certain point, maybe you don't want to do it anymore. Maybe you're like, I've done everything in this sport. You know, I don't know what his personal
His biggest
view
value
is.
for me, why I think Saban left college, and I think he'll end up being in the NFL, is because he's just like, these kids aren't here for football anymore. They're here for the money. And so now
It's a different animal.
we're destroying. This is exactly why he left the NFL to go to college, because he wants kids to be there for football and to be there for like the love of the game.
It's such a tough topic though, because like these kids should be getting paid. I mean,
no, they should.
1,000%.
so it's like it's hard because it changes the dynamic, but also like there's kids that make a lot of money for these schools. They blow an ACL, they never make money in the pros.
Exactly. Right.
So it's like
No, they need it. And
I don't know what the answer is.
I think he genuinely, deep down in his heart, I think he knows they deserve it.
Mhm.
It's just more so he's upset that these kids are here. They're like, how can I get this next bag, as opposed to like, how can I get better as a footballer?
And they keep like even the I was looking at the girl on LSU trade. She's changed schools like 4 times.
Right.
Oh,
The
yeah.
guard that got
guards, yeah.
cooked
Cooked
by
by
Caitlin Clark.
She's getting-
Well, that was a terrible coach. I mean, you can't put her on an island, say guard.
And
like
she's also the
UConn
best.
doubled her, and
Right.
she still got hers, but
still got hers.
they discouraged her.
Caitlin Clark is bucket. Oh, my
yeah.
goodness.
If I'm any brand, I throw all the money at her.
Well, you see
all
what
the
Big
money.
Three,
I
Big Three threw $5 million at her.
I would throw more because, like, did you watch the national championship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched.
Right.
I've never watched basketball,
Never.
women's
Right.
basketball
That
game
game was
ever,
tough at the beginning, but
and that was so it's like
that's
give
a-
her all the money.
That's the Caitlin Clark effect, because I promise you, as good in that South Carolina incredible team, if Caitlin Clark wasn't in that game and they say they were playing like UConn or anything, me personally, I probably wouldn't have watched it.
Yeah.
Just because even though South Carolina was undefeated, like,
Oh no, it was all everyone was going to watch Caitlin Clark.
Right.
I mean, nothing against South
Anybody,
Carolina,
yeah.
but they were great. But there was no like standout.
She was different. So
Yeah.
everybody was going to watch her. But I would have watched it because of UConn.
Right.
You know, so it was either like at the end of the day, it could be South Carolina. They said they're a great team.
Yeah.
But you know, people are going to watch for a couple of reasons. This year was Caitlin Clark. Every other year, people are watching because it's UConn. We talked about this
Right, yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
college
around here more
basketball.
so.
No, I know people like a lot of my college friends that don't even live around here.
Right.
They love UConn.
Right.
Yeah.
They love UConn.
Yeah. Well, they've
basketball.
been
like they're
relevant for a long
for
time.
a long time.
And we were talking about this the other day. UConn or Connecticut sports.
College basketball,
And-
period, runs through Connecticut.
Yeah. Why is that? What like
that
what?
coach is-
Are we pulling from New York? Is that why? Like, because a lot of kids from New York get
Jersey, too.
recruited out here in Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, I
Like
guess-
Kemba was Rice. He played at Rice. Have you guys ever been to the CYP tournament? I don't even know if they still do it. Really?
No, I've never been.
There's a basketball tournament in Portchester.
Okay,
It's the smallest gym. It's where I used to play as a kid.
okay.
And it's like the half court line is a little circle and touches both 3-point lines.
Oh,
And
wow.
they get all the best kids from the city and they play like a Rucker Park tournament
right.
in Portchester.
So this makes sense.
And it, like Kemba Walker played, like any big time basketball player you've heard of from that area has played in the tournament. And you get to go, you sit courtside. It's great.
And I'm sure that's
so
where
cheap,
the
too.
UConn coaches, Jim Calhoun,
Yeah.
and all these guys are probably going right.
Picking
It's not,
Yeah.
not far rides.
Yeah, I don't know if they were there, but a lot of people go to see the kids play. And it's like they're playing in such a small gym.
Yeah.
Like I think Kemba was one of the only players that could get an open layout in such a small area because he would it was wild. It's wild to see. I don't know if they're still doing it. I hope so.
Yeah.
We used to go every year. No, I mean, I think, like I said, I like watching all this stuff
Right.
because I love marketing and I love marketing is the number one thing that adds value,
Okay.
right? And if you market well, you don't necessarily need to spend any money. You can spend money to accelerate it, but if you're branding yourself right, like a Caitlin Clark,
Right.
it's her game, obviously.
Right.
But her whole persona, the way she talks, like
Right.
That's
when she's on, when she's hot, she's screaming.
Right.
It's a personality, right?
Right.
If you can do that, there's a lot of opportunities
Right.
that come up, and that costs nothing.
Right.
You just got to dominate
Right.
and have a good personality, and
Right.
it translates.
I mean, like we said, it helps that she can put the ball in the basket.
If you're not winning, people don't pay attention. Like if you're not doing your job,
Right.
people don't pay attention.
And you know, speaking on marketing, that was a great like for what you do, everything that you do. Me and Austin always talk about it. You are the
GOAT.
man.
He's
the
the
GOAT.
I don't know if the goat's a strong.
Well,
I appreciate it,
You
but
do a really good job. I want you to touch on the marketing you do. First, let's touch on. I don't know. I know Nat's giving us that look. I don't know how much time we got
Yeah,
left.
yeah. Sorry, we got sidetracked. That's my fault.
But
That's why I got kicked off the last
this
podcast.
is
No, I'm
why
just
you're
kidding.
good. This is why you're good at what you do. But I want to touch on before we're done, just a typical day for yourself.
Yeah.
But then we have to talk about tell them.
Tell him Mike saying.
Tell Mike saying.
We gotta
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about that.
yeah.
So we can just touch on those two things.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll give you the kind of the general game plan strategy,
Yeah.
like all the businesses. So, real estate I've always loved. I like that it's very hands-on. My creativeness can add value to a property and actually translate to money. I wanted to be a day trader growing up. My mom worked at Greenwich Capital, still does. It's NatWest Markets now. And when I had a sick day, I'd sit on the trading floor with all the guys, and it was like Wolf of Wall Street type stuff, like screaming guys. And I was like, this is awesome. I had some money from graduation. I put it in the stock market in 2008, and it was ripping, and I was making a lot. And then it crashed when I was away. I lost everything. Wasn't that much in hindsight, but then after that, I'm like, I'm doing some other stuff. This is not for me. Patience wasn't my thing when I was younger. Like I was never into patience. That was
I'm learning that.
that was my downfall.
Yep.
I was always part of it's people to get rich quick was like our era. Like growing up, that's all I heard. Like get rich quick, 50 Cent, get rich or die trying. Like everything was about getting rich, right?
I feel like it's kind of the same now.
Yeah, it's similar now, probably worse.
Yeah.
So in college, very entrepreneurial, ran a sober rides company with buses with one of my business partners. We patented a headphone, which we still have. Almost licensed it. It fell through, but I probably would have been an inventor if it happened. So everything happens for a reason.
Right.
So at post college, I knew I wanted to be my own boss, and I knew I was interested in real estate. So I was like, listen, I do everything. When I do something, I go full in, I take a jump. So I went into real estate to learn how to invest in real estate. I read a book called Building Wealth One House at a Time. In addition to other books, but that book really changed my thought on real estate. It gave me a very straightforward map to be wealthy. In my head, I was like, well, I forget if this is a true stat. I'm just going to throw it out. The highest ratio of millionaires is in real estate, something like that.
Right.
Like
I did share something.
There's no
like
more
that.
land being made.
I mean, if you think about commercial businesses, most of the time they make more money on the real estate than the actual business, which is crazy,
Right.
right? If they buy a building, the building's worth more than the business at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So I shadowed one of my friends' moms who I knew growing up, and I knew she did a ton of business. So I said, listen, do you mind? I'll work my tail off. I'm going to shadow you. Like, I don't know anything, but I promise you I'll learn fast. And, whenever you need me, I'll be available. That was when I was single, drop everything, showings, working 7 days a week. Did that for a long time. Then met my wife and we were dating, and I'm like, all right, now's the time to start buying properties. Bought my first property before we were engaged, and she was pissed. But the strategy was I already bought a ring before I bought the house.
Right.
I just didn't tell her. So then I used the house to propose. So I put it in the mailbox, said the Parelli. She's like, we're not the Parellis. And I was like, well, open the mailbox,
That's tough. I like
Yeah.
that.
So we got our first property. We renovated. We lived in it. Then the market went nuts because of COVID.
Right.
And while we were in that house, we had our first child. Second one, I think, was on the way. And then we're like, all right, we need more space. The plan was always to keep property. So I moved from that property to a bigger property and rented that property out.
Nice.
My philosophy on all of it is never sell. That's we talked about it a couple times. Then, now we have a property now, and I'm looking to buy a building in Byram. And I say it publicly all the time because I'm hoping someone will hear it and hook me up with a deal,
That's it.
Austin style.
Right.
So that all was happening. And in the background, I was establishing myself as my tags are Mike Parelli Greenwich Real Estate. So I lost a lot of business because I used to do business outside of Greenwich to learn, but all my tags were about Greenwich. So I would lose listings to people because they were like, well, you're not in Stanford. So,
Okay.
but I knew long term I had to be patient because that's going to be the differentiator is I'm just going to do Greenwich and do it well.
Right.
Then as I was talking to all my clients, they were like, where do I get pizza? Where do I get this and that? So I had this idea to do a lot of videos so that I can scale and I can, when a client asks me, hey, where do I get pizza? I send them a video. I'm all over the video.
Right.
It creates a community aspect where when they go get the pizza, they know I sent them. So then those people,
Genius.
Genius. That's that marketing genius right there.
Genius.
so that became its own beast because we don't charge restaurants, right?
Right.
I say, listen, we want to do a great video. It's going to drive business. All I'm looking for is to be associated with it. So we'll handle everything. You have to do nothing. We make it super simple for you and just enjoy people coming in. You know, I don't ask for anything.
It's marketing for them.
Right.
Marketing.
You know, they'll give me free food every once in a while. I always try to pay anyway and support because I'm not in it for the free food. It's a plus. So it's definitely like a long-term play because I've spent a fortune on marketing and branding and videos and, you know, my video guy's on the team and, you know, he's a piece of the business and my social media. But I don't make a dime from telling Mike saying I lose tons of money on it.
Right.
But it's the amount of people that walk into one of the properties that I'm either selling or I'm representing, look at me and they're like, are you the food guy?
Yeah.
And their wall comes down because they're like, oh, I can trust this guy. He's a
Exactly.
clown. He's on TV all
Right,
the time.
he's
Yeah,
right, right.
TV. He's on YouTube all the time.
Right. Yeah, you
But
have
I
like
was
a-
thinking about
yeah.
that. You might be that like the not another real estate show.
Yeah,
Right.
so we're working on that.
Because
That's
I could see
slow
you
moving.
being on TV.
Right.
Like I could see that.
So not another real estate show is I was like, we need to document this because everyone thinks it's just, they think I'm just running around with the chicken head cut off, but it's all strategic. Like I know exactly the steps at which I'm going. The next goal is to have, so the big picture is you have my personal portfolio, which is just, you know, a mix of properties just in Greenwich.
Right.
Then you have, I want to have a building in each part of town and have that as kind of a clubhouse for all my clients so that, you know, if you're in Byram, hey, Mike, I'm in Byram, blah, blah. Oh, stop by the office. Like there's a humidor in there. Feel free to take whatever you want.
Right.
There's a couple gift cards, go to the restaurant. You know, I'll be back in an hour and we could talk. And, you know, if you want to see some properties, we'll chat or whatever it is.
Sweet.
So you have like these little hubs,
Right.
but they're also investment properties, right? So for the food side, I'll have a little commercial kitchen in each property. And I say, oh, you want to test your concept in Byram? Go out this weekend, make donuts on Saturday. I'll promote it for you and tell Mike sent you. And then let me know if you like, if they're, you know, and then I'll tell my clients, hey, swing by our office. We're doing a pop-up. You know, they're doing donuts. It's a new concept, blah, blah. And either I'll like cover the cost for the pop-up or they'll charge them something minimal. So it creates kind of like this, it's a web of community, but also service and value because it's like this strategy is not the most efficient way to do it. It's a long-term play. If anything, I'm probably leaving a ton of money on the table, but I know it's going to be very hard to duplicate.
Right.
You know?
That I think what provides so much value, and I just heard this about the other day. It's like, or I read this in one of the books I'm reading. It's like the energy that you put out, you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what's going to pay off in the long run. Where like
Yeah.
if you're just doing it for money, everything's for money, everything's for money.
Right.
People are going to catch on to that. They're going to be like, all right, this guy's just trying to fleece us. And, like,
And to your point, when I was younger, it was all about like, let me get rich and I want to make the most money possible. And then when you have a family, it's like, I don't need to be the richest person in Greenwich. Well, first off, I'm never going to be the richest person in Greenwich.
I mean,
Is like, you never feel so poor as living in Greenwich, right?
it's crazy.
So that's the good thing about like ego in Greenwich. You can't have an ego in Greenwich.
Because
I mean,
everybody has.
yeah. So it's like, all right, well, if that's the case, then it's all about kind of the lifestyle I want.
Absolutely.
And then I worked backwards and I'm like, I would love to be. So I was brought up on mob movies, like any good Italian boy.
Right.
So Goodfellas was one of my favorite movies of all time, still is. And there's a scene which changed kind of how I think of everything, where Henry walks into the bar in the back door and they walk him through the kitchen and they put him in the front row while they're performing. Right. And I'm like, if I can make in my plan to be the guy that they'll walk in the back door and people respect you, not because you're killing people,
Right.
but you're providing value, you add business to them, you sent them
Part
some
of the
stuff.
community, all that.
Correct. So like that lifestyle of walking to a restaurant and knowing everyone. And if my clients are going to a spot, I can call ahead and say, hey, listen, my people are coming and take good care of them,
Right.
you know, roll out the red carpet, like that whole community aspect I really like,
Right.
but it's business wise. And while a lot of big firms didn't understand when I was interviewing with other people, it's not to make the most money.
Right.
It's to have the most kind of fun, convenient, interesting life
Right.
within Greenwich. So it doesn't fit in a lot of models, you know,
Right.
because
It,
people are like,
it
what,
fits for
why,
you though. That's
why are
why.
you doing all these food shows? Like, yes, it creates business, but it's not the best use of time, right? I spent 2.5 hours shooting a video about, you know, a Mexican spot in Byram, and it's
Right.
like, I don't know how much business can come for that, but I enjoy it.
But
And the
you
guy loves
You
it. And
enjoy it though.
yeah,
That's the key
That's
too.
about
yeah. So
That's the key too.
but it's the thing that I try to tell people I'm not the type to tell people what to do, but when people ask me, like, what do you think? What's your thought on everything? I think if you can play the long game and leave money on the table
Right.
and create kind of content and goodwill, which a million people have said this before me,
Right.
but I've seen it work, then it all comes together for people take care of you. Hey, I need help with this. I'll hook you up, this and that. I think people fall into the trap if they do something and they ask for something right away.
Exactly.
And then people are like, they feel gross about it. They're like, ah,
And
you were just, you know.
that's like the biggest thing. It's the
Yeah.
genuine and the meaning behind it. Like when I think about, so when I worked at my old firm, I don't want to get in trouble with them, but I would see people, and I see a lot of people donating to charities, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many of these people are actually from the kindness of their heart donating to these charities for the right reasons, or are they donating for tax breaks?
Yeah.
So like that to me, that's a big thing because that's that goodwill.
Yeah.
Because yes, you could be wealthy and you give all this money to charity, but if you're just doing it for the tax breaks and money back,
Yeah.
then it's like at the end of the day, that goodwill is not going to circle back to you.
Yeah.
So that,
Yeah.
to your point, I do think doing things for the right reason.
And what you guys thought, if you're going to sacrifice your time, you want it to be something you believe in,
Right.
right? Because then you're going to stick with it.
And that's why we always get on kids. Is like, if you're here, man, like let's get this work.
Well, I think kids just in general, like something I always think it in the concept of my kids. So I'm like, what are the things I want to teach them? One of the biggest things I want to explain to them when they're young is like, listen, there's no rules.
Right.
Everyone's going to tell you, you got to do this, you got to do that. You like food and real estate,
Right.
It's you.
you do both.
Right.
You know, there's no rule against it,
There isn't.
you know? So it's like, but I think even myself was like, oh no, I can't do that. Like, well, who does that, you know?
Right.
But in the past, I always got in trouble waiting for permission to do things. That was the
Right.
biggest thing where I'd get frustrated is like when I'm looking for someone to co-sign something,
Right.
when in reality I'm like, I'll just do it. And then,
Just do it.
yeah.
Just do it.
But people overcomplicate it, you
Right.
know?
Same.
And I used to do it all the time.
People used to shut people shut people down because they themselves don't feel like they could do it, so they bestow that upon you. So now you can't. And it's like,
So I stopped telling people, like with you guys, I'll tell you the strategy,
Right.
but I don't really talk about it much.
Right.
I just show people through the show. Like not another real estate show is just to document the growth of the company
Right.
and show kind of people the journey. And I think it's interesting. I want to look back and be like, oh, we did everything we were saying we were going
Right.
to do. But I don't really talk about my aspirations anymore because it fell on deaf ears. And I was like, they make me feel crazy and it doesn't help me
exactly.
to tell you about other than like,
Because that energy just passes
yeah,
through.
and
it's
at
like,
the end of the day, why should they believe what you're saying? Like they're not with you till 1 a.m. working, so they have no idea what your work ethic. I used to take it personal. I'm like, oh, you don't think I'm going to do it? Why would they though?
But
They don't know me.
That's that competitive.
that drives me too, though. I love that.
But I thought like that. So in real estate, right, negotiations, everything comes back to thinking about the person that you're negotiating with, what their side is, right? When
Right.
you were freaking out, right, and you were
Yeah.
pissed, I was like, he's stressed. He's got all his stuff. He's got like probably didn't sleep last night. He's running around. So that's why I was like, yeah, listen, I get it. I'm
Right.
exhausted. Like that mindset of giving people the benefit of the doubt was a big change for me. When you give people the benefit of the doubt in any situation, it's less on you.
Right.
You know?
100%.
So like I used to get pissed, like, oh, my parents, you know, they laughed when I said this and that, or Dana, like my wife, she's so supportive. But I would say stuff like and this, I'm going to put this in public. I don't know if I said this in public. I always tell her, I'm like, when we're sitting in a villa in Italy, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to look over to you and go like this.
Yeah, and go.
Right?
Yeah.
I've told you, like, it was worth it type of thing.
Right.
And I used to like get mad when she'd like laugh because I'm like, but at the end of the day, like it's my wife, but she's not in the office with me till 1 a.m. She doesn't see, you know?
Wasn't with me shooting in the gym.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying?
Right.
Right.
But that's a maturity thing where I used to take it personal.
Right.
And now I'm like, no, why would they? Until you show someone, why would they believe you?
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's my view on all of it.
Love it.
Simple though. I'm a simple man.
Simple.
I like to eat and I sell real estate.
I love it.
You know?
Dope.
There
Yeah.
you go. Mike
But I
Parelli is the
appreciate
goat.
you guys helping me on
Always.
because I was like, well, I mean, I got to get in better shape to be on this podcast, I believe. I feel like you should have you should do a combine and then you put the stats of your guest
That'd
after
be
me,
Great.
because that would be hilarious.
Now, see,
Right?
now the goat,
See,
marking the goat.
that's
But
it.
Like
the
Barstool-
mic'd up was so funny.
Yeah,
When you
those are
started the
gonna-
mic'd up,
those
that
are-
was great.
Yeah.
And actually, if we could clip Frank Parelli,
Oh
uncle,
Jesus! My godfather and uncle, yeah.
Godfather and Uncle, our most viral clip.
Yeah.
By a
Oh
long shot.
yes,
Um,
but he's very very calm compared to what he used to be.
which is
That's a great clip.
If you could
Crazy
think,
thing.
think about that,
Yeah.
yeah.
he is hilarious. Love Frank. But
He's
yeah,
the
we definitely
best.
got to clip that right here because
Put your helmets on. This ain't picture day. What is wrong with you? I gotta eat dinner after this. I'm getting bit by these friggin' bugs. Little contact. I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. I want to hear pounds popping. This ain't a dance. Contact. Yes. It's supposed to hurt. That's it, Joey. You've been doing it for 10 minutes. Now you don't know how to do it?
legendary video.
He's one of the best storytellers too of all
Yeah,
time.
all
If you
time.
get him
Yeah.
going on stories,
He's
it's incredible. I don't know if he's told you all of them.
Oh,
You should ask.
Yeah, him in the army, everything.
Did he tell you the quarter flip?
No.
Okay.
I-
So I'll tell you off air because I don't want to get him in trouble in
Right.
case there wasn't anything bad, but it's that his mindset similar to like the Drake beef. I'll explain it.
We'll
Yeah.
get into that.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, I appreciate you guys having me, and I know I was asking you guys a lot of questions, but I'm curious. I know we haven't chopped it up or talked about any of this
Yeah,
stuff,
it's been a
but
minute. It's definitely been a minute.
I'm pumped for you guys though, by the way, because when we do commercial deals, we always want whoever we put in. I mean, apart from me liking you,
Right.
you want the business to do well because it makes everyone look good.
Right.
So thank you for making me look good on this deal.
Absolutely.
And the landlord loves you guys, so
Shout
keep
out
it up.
Shout out to Dave. Dave is the
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Dave's the man.
What other things are coming to the Ave? What should be on our radars?
So, well, actually, big thing. We got Hunger on Hillside football camp. That's
Okay.
coming up.
Yeah.
Like we said, charity is in the making. Or what do you technically call it?
What foundation?
Foundation. Give a foundation.
A not-for-profit.
Are you
No.
teaming up with one, or is it
No.
an in-house?
Make
Oh,
it
it's in-house.
yeah,
Good for you.
In-house, yeah.
What are you going to contribute to? Is there like an initiative yet, or
More so for athletes who are going to school. Who
like a
are-
scholarship type
yeah,
thing?
exact scholarship,
Awesome. Very cool.
For those who may not be as fortunate as others.
Probably want to work with the boys and girls.
So I'm on the board now. So I'm honored. They
Literally
just
said that.
asked me to be on the board. And I was honored. I went there as a kid,
So
and I always would make the excuse like, oh, when I'm more, successful, I'll give back. And then one day I was like, I just should start.
right.
So, but we worked on scholarship chair, and it was awesome. I was like, I love giving other people's money away.
Right. So I definitely want to do that. I mean, we definitely want to do that with the boys and girls.
Okay, yeah, if I can make an intro.
We definitely want to. Everything wants to go right back into Greenwich.
Cool. I mean, listen, wherever it goes, it's good. So
Yeah.
don't feel like it has to go back to Greenwich just because.
That's true.
No, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's like I said, we here.
Right.
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, we appreciate you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you,
for
Mike.
stopping
thank you.
by.
We're gonna loosen you up.
Yeah.
Wallet.
Whoa, pause. that was a pause.
That was a pause.
That was a pause.
Well, only 2 for an episode. That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
But no, that's episode. What is this? 4?
4.
I'm honored. I'm in the 4th episode. Am I your first guest?
First guest.
Guess.
I need a
guest.
plaque.
Plaque. That's it.
Yeah.
But we're definitely taking you up. Like I know Barstool does that combine before.
Isn't that so fun? It's so funny.
They kill it. That's hilarious.
Oh,
That's a
they
great
do
idea.
the gauntlet.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
gauntlet.
yeah, yeah.
There's like
That'd be
3
funny.
shot, all that.
Yeah.
No, we
But
gotta
you
do
should
that.
get people you should do the bench.
Right.
You should do a 4. I wouldn't do a 40, but
Yeah.
that'd be
They're-
great.
They're going to do about
Vertical.
15.
20,
Yeah, 20,
a
15.
20 pull-ups,
And then
broad jump,
you can have ranks,
Yeah.
ranking.
Yes.
You know?
I love that.
L drill.
Yeah.
That'd be-
Maybe we'll get Nat to do it first.
Yeah, Nat.
Well,
That's
you
what
know what? What you should do is have people say what they think they can do,
Right.
because then you could like clip it and be
Right.
like, and I'd be like, yeah, I could do 25, and then you clip it, I did like 6, and I'm like on the ground hyperventilating.
Done.
Put them through the blender.
Yeah.
Done.
So,
Done.
no, thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you, Mike. And
Nice work.
that's episode 4
In the books.
in the books.